All right, we are back with another episode of Plotting. Very excited about today's episode for literally no reason. I honestly don't know what's coming. I don't know if this movie's going to be good. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy talking about it. I have no clue. That's the hook of this show. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what's coming. You're going to give me the title of a media property. I'm going to try and guess what it is. Then we're going to have a discussion about what it actually is and how much better my off the top of my head idea was than whatever garbage they actually put through producers and writers and editors and executives and all of those things, the screen tests, everything that they do. We're going to find out how much better I am off the cuff. So let's get into it. Hit me with it. What do you got?
This is in the Netflix top 10.
Okay.
It is currently ranked number 4.
Mm-hmm.
It is it looks like a series of parts. Like there's different parts to it. Because it says part 1 next to it.
Okay.
It is, yes, series. It is called Lupin.
Lupin?
Lupin.
Like lupus?
No.
Okay.
I think that it's either like Lupin. It might be a French word.
Okay.
I'm saying it Lupin because that's how you say Professor Lupin in Harry Potter, and I don't think it's correct, but it's like someone's last name.
Okay, so it's like Lupin.
Yes.
Okay, and it's a series.
It's a
of
series
some sort.
of some sort.
Wow. Okay, it's a dude's last name. All right. Or a woman's last name. I don't know. Again, that's the point of this show. I'm just trying to guess. That's it. That's all I get. I get Lupin and series. Actually, series is more than I thought I would get. So Lupin Part 1. So what is Lupin about? All right. A lot of times when you get person's name, right? A lot of time you get person's name, sort of a vigilante character or a police detective character, right? That's usually what you get when it's like a one of those things, right? Because that's a newer style thing. Now, you might get like a play back in the day like Macbeth or, Othello or something like that. But
So
that
just
was
Shakespeare.
Yeah, like Shakespeare type stuff. I'm sure there's plenty of other Beowulf, right? That was a book that I didn't read, but I've heard of. Because
someone read it for you though.
No, actually, that was in college. I
Oh.
actually had to read a small portion of it, and I actually compared Beowulf to Michael Jordan in class.
Did you get a good grade?
I did actually. I did. I was actually pretty pumped about that one. Mostly because he kept going back, and so I was just talking about how it was like Michael Jordan going back to the Wizards in 2000.
I have no idea what that means.
Well, it's fine. He came out of retirement. Beowulf came out of retirement, but
Oh,
also in
okay.
Beowulf, I was
Yeah.
really upset. I was
Okay.
really mad about Beowulf because it was like the whole part of I read this. I had to read the part where like he goes into the water or something, and like he dives down in the water and he fights somebody, and then he comes back up and whatever. And that was supposed to be like the Christ, I guess. I don't really know that much about the Bible, but like I guess at some point in the Easter weekend, like when he died or whatever, and then he came back, and during that time he went into hell, and he like pulled these souls back out.
Oh yeah.
He brought them. He went in and he was like, "Oh, you're not. Hey, what's up, Jeff? You're not supposed to be here. Let's go." And like they booked it out of hell and they went to heaven or something. And they were saying that's what this Beowulf thing was. I didn't get that at all, mostly because I didn't understand the reference, but I did kill the Michael Jordan comparison, so I did fine in the class. It's okay. Anyways, things like that, right? Like it's a warrior type stuff, right? Like a one person against the world. So that's where I'm going. That's where my thought goes with Lupin. I'm guessing it's somebody against the world. I'm gonna say
so
if it's go ahead.
So are you saying that are we doing vigilante or are we doing more of a police type?
Well, so that's the thing. Now you've got me thinking, and you probably aren't even right about this, honestly, and not because you're like wrong or whatever. It's just you've said it, so now I'm anchored on this thought. You said French, right? So you said French, which makes me think it's French. I don't know that much about French cinema, other than it's not American cinema. That's all I know. But I'm going to assume that the French are like the British, and they are only interested in things that have happened before, I don't know, the last 200 years. Because for some reason they're obsessed with like when they were in power, and they don't fucking care about what happened like after they got smoked in a bunch of wars and stuff. So I'm going to assume that it's this Lupin person is a French warrior. I don't really know what you call soldier, maybe, I don't know, something like that. In like, and I got to think, like, when were the French popular? I think that was like when was Napoleon? He was like the 1800s, right? I think like kind of the like War of 1812, like just before that, I think was Napoleon. So I'm gonna say like mid 1700s, like when the French were coming up, like right before Napoleon was there. They were battling the British for like supremacy and stuff like that. I think, I don't know, not a great history student, but I'm going to say it's 1700s, French, people living in huts, a guy. I'm going to guess it's a guy. Lupin is a guy who probably has like a female, either a wife or like a co-conspirator, if you will. I'm going to say it's vigilante style in the French countryside, I guess you would say, like not in the palace, right? Like this isn't like Marie Antoinette type situation. This is like them doing their thing.
Okay.
They're out there, they're in huts and stuff like that, and they're going to overthrow the government. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're overthrowing the government. They're fighting back. It's like Robin Hood situation, but over in France, not in England.
Okay.
That's something that's happening. This is part one. I'm gonna say that's what this is. That's what I'm thinking this is. I'm thinking it's about some sort of band of brothers type situation of vigilantes in France in the 1700s, 1750s, 1760s, something like that.
Okay.
That's what I think this is.
I know.
Oh, I wasn't right. Oh, that's okay.
I mean, there's a little bit of vigilante, but
Mm-hmm.
Apparently the French can move on more than
the British, certainly, because the fucking British are just stuck in the 1800s.
Definitely more in agile
they refuse to talk about anything other than the 17th century or 19th century, whatever century that was.
So it's inspired by the adventures of Arsène Lupin. I'm not pronouncing that correctly, sure. Which is, I think, a book series.
Doesn't matter. I have no idea
a gentleman thief sets out to avenge his father for an injustice inflicted by a wealthy family. The previews, and I obviously have not read the series, have it where when he was a young child, he was given a gift to all, like, you could be in infinite wealth, power, and everything. And I think it's somehow it's like a family history book. So it's something what I'm assuming something about how, like, to be an excellent con man, essentially. So he uses this.
Okay.
So and I don't know if there's some kind of magic.
This is a book that his family owns. You're telling me it's a book that his family owns that was passed down to him or whatever, and it teaches him how to be a con man. And then he's going to go after some rich people because they killed his dad, right? Is that
so? That's what I was able to absorb from the trailers. Whether or not that's accurate, I don't know, but that's what you get.
Okay, we should probably do more research if this is an actual book, but that's fine. I'm kind of in on this one. I like this one. I like this. It's a very simple premise. It's a very simple premise, right? Like this is basically Now You See Me, but with French people, I guess. And like, But you said there's magic in Now You See Me. I mean, that's actually literally what Now You See Me is about. It's about fucking magicians. The movie Now You See Me, number one, not number two. Number two, I watched, whatever. Haley Joel Osment, not great. but the first was actually pretty good. Like the first movie, the first Night You See Me is actually a really good movie. And at the end, when he, you know, he talks about like, oh, you know, I did this whole thing to get back at you or whatever, and to like avenge my dad and that sort of thing. Super interesting, right? Super interesting. I liked that twist. I thought that was pretty well done. I like any story. I like any story where somebody says, like, something happened to a member of my family, and so I'm going to make my entire life, my whole life's mission to destroy the people who did this to me, right? That's a bullet. That's never not worked, right? As long as you stick to it. That's the problem. The ones that start with that and then they start adding all these other elements and all this other stuff doesn't work. It's a very simple premise, right? What you're telling me is a con man sets out to destroy the family that killed his father. That's it. That's the whole story. If you deviate from that at all, you're going to ruin it. But if you stick with that, there are many, many things that you can do, understanding that this guy's entire life is based on the premise that once he takes these people out, he will have satisfaction, he will find happiness, he will find peace, right? That's an awesome, awesome premise in anything. It never not works. There's never a time where that doesn't work. As long as you stick with that. You start adding other elements, you start adding, no. This is the story. This is the key story. Because for some, and here's the thing, for somebody, the reason it doesn't usually work is that the writers get a little too cute and they say, well, there's other things that would grab his attention, right? There's things that would kind of take his attention at a certain time. No. What he said is, my entire life is based on the premise that I'm going to destroy these fucking people. What that means is every decision he makes is based on that. Every person he talks to, every conversation he has is going to forward his mission of taking on these rich people. That's what his whole life is about. So anything that deviates from that plan now tells me that his character is not true. That's the problem that people run into. But if they stick with this, and it's based on a book, so if they stick to the book, and I'm guessing the book is decent. I've never read the book. I don't know.
The book is the book is actually from 1907, and the author brings in one of them kind of like he brings in Sherlock Holmes. He had it change the name because he was threatened by the lawyers, but that's kind of the genre originally that it was in. However, this remake, there was a movie made in the late 1950s.
Okay.
The new remake that has, I think, all 7 series is going to be represented. So each book has a movie type. It is also more reset in the more modern world, kind of like the Sherlock Holmes series is. So it's, I think they're trying to take this side, of a gentleman burglar is what he keeps being referred to.
Which is awesome. Like anytime you have like an aristocratic thief, right? Fucking awesome. Like criminals in suits are more badass than criminals not in suits. That's just a fact. Like that's how it works. Like we see these people and we're like, hey, you know what? I like those people. It's like you watch James Bond, right? And like every single person that James Bond talks to who's just like evil human beings. Like they're like, I want to take over the world. Like that's their plot. Is like, I'm going to take over the world. And they're just in like cocktail dresses and tuxes the whole time. And you're like, this is some classy ass shit, right? Like these people are having like, some like, they're like drinking gimlets and shit, like drinks that I don't even know how you make them. And playing Baccarat, which is a game I don't even understand how it works. I've never tried, but like I don't even think like poor people can play Baccarat, right? Like I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think that's true.
I don't even know what that is.
That's what I'm saying. Because you're poor. Like that's how it works. Like poor people don't even get to play Baccarat, right? But this guy's out there playing it, whatever, because he's James Bond and he's hanging out with like sophisticated criminals, right? So sophisticated criminals are awesome. And it's really cool. But that's the thing, right? Like this dude in today's age, he would not be beset by, oh man, I'm addicted to Instagram and TikTok and social media and all these things. He's not beset by that, right? He is saying, if I use those, it is only to forward my goal of taking out this family of criminals that have gotten away with harming my family, right? That's awesome. I love that thing. I'm in on this story. I'm 100% in. I think this is going to be really good. Again, if they stick to the book and they stick to like, that's the story, and they don't deviate, they don't say like, oh, he's going to have a love interest, he's going to do those things, because a person who has set their entire life on revenge does not care about a love interest unless that love interest somehow gets them revenge, somehow forwards the plot for revenge.
Great.
That's how it works. So like, that's what I'm talking about. Like like I see these movies where they're like, do this stuff and they're like, oh, there's a love interest. I'm like, no, the person wouldn't care, right? Like whether it's a man, a woman, an adult, a child, whatever. If they say my whole life's mission is to take somebody out, then they don't have time for these other things, because that's all they're focused on. These are the people who take over the world. These are the people who change the world, are people who are that focused on something. And so if they stick with that, I think this could be a really good thing. I'm giving it 2 thumbs up. I think this is going to be awesome.
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. I am excited to watch this. Like, I am pumped. I think I'm actually going to watch this one 100%. I am pumped about this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely. I was going to say 1 thumbs up. I'm not like as pumped necessarily, but because I don't think it's my genre as much. But I'm someone who didn't watch Sherlock for years, and then when I did, I binged it. So it's probably gonna, if it's good, it's probably gonna be one of those where I like it after, but I wouldn't necessarily watch it unless 15 people told me I should. But that's like a personal preference. That's how movies work.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
I do like when criminals are white collar criminals. I find it interesting.
It's way more interesting because that's stuff you don't know.
They're more complex, right?
I wouldn't say that. I would say it's more opaque what they do. It's more interesting. It's like if somebody's a thief, right? Like Aladdin, right? I mean, don't get me started on Aladdin, but Aladdin was a fucking criminal, right? Like he was just objectively a criminal. And he was kind of a dick about it too. Like he would taunt the guy, stealing his bread. That guy wasn't super rich, I mean, he's making unleavened bread back in the day. Dude's not, he's the maker of unleavened bread. You know what I mean? Like it's not like he owns Wonder Bread, He's like, I'm going loaf by loaf without yeast. That's a problem for him, And Aladdin is just taunting him, taking his stuff. Right? That's a very simple. Now you can say, well, he has to feed his family, and also like forget that part. I'm saying like that thing, like that, like his crime itself, very simple. He stole bread, right? Like I understand that. If you're a white collar criminal, most people don't have a fucking clue what you're doing. Like they can't figure out what it is that you do. That's super interesting to me. That is super interesting to me. That you. When you do something, you exist in a world in which I don't know anything about. That's why people love that stuff, right? Because you get to see it and you're like, oh, because they're rich people, right? What does that mean? You can make money doing any sorts of things. But what does that probably mean? Connections, political connections, economic connections, business connections, social connections, all these things that I never get to see, that I don't know anything about. Yeah,
absolutely.
And I will believe pretty much anything. Right? Like if you don't know about it, you're like, this family could literally do anything. I don't know. They probably have nuclear warheads in their living room, and you're like, sure, of course.
The other element I think about white collar criminals is that people can more easily see how that would be a path that they would go down. With a white collar criminal, they're like you just mentioned all these amazing things. People could be like, yeah, that could be me. Not could be, but would be.
They want to see themselves as like the elite of society.
Whereas if you see like other criminals where you're having to potentially face death on every day. They're not like, oh, I would pick that life. Whereas there's a lot of people out there, like, if I could get away with a bunch of shit, I would.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Might not say that out loud, but that's what they believe.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. It's just different, you know. So yeah, no, I'm in. I like this. I think I'm gonna watch it. I think
is this the only one you've given two thumbs up to?
Probably 2 thumbs. I think I have approved one before, I believe, but I think this is the first one that I've given 2 thumbs up to.
Yeah.
I'm all in on this. I like the idea of this. I like what's happening here. So let's check the rating.
Oh yeah,
ratings check here. What's the IMDb
ratings check for this one? What do you think it is?
I feel like it's got to be high. I'm gonna say, but it's kind of weird. IMDb is a little weird on it. Scale of 10 stars, I believe. I'm gonna say
1 to 10.
I'm gonna say 7, 8. Is that what it is?
It is 7.8.
Nailed it. Nice.
It's nailed it.
It's hard to get above an 8 on IMDb. Like, it's almost impossible. Like, I've seen that stuff, and it's basically almost impossible.
It's a book series before, because anyone who read the book series hates the fucking movie.
Yeah,
that's actually one of their reviews. Is like, all the bad stars are from people who really like the series. Literally, not the point of half. You can't do a visual art when it's a written. It doesn't translate well. Not the point.
It's very hard. It's very hard.
I
agree.
If that's the reason why you don't like it, then
yeah, totally agree.
Watch it.
I'm 2 thumbs up on this one. What are you? You're 1 thumb up. You're 1 thumb.
One thumb up.
You're 1 thumb.
This is maybe the highest rated plot review we've done.
I'm pretty sure it is. I think when I gave my thumb, I think you were only 1 thumb when I gave mine up.
Yeah, I don't think I was ever 2 thumbs and you were. Yeah, so this is 3 thumbs out of 4 thumbs.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, honestly. That's 75%. That's a C grade. That's passing right there. That's passing.
Yeah, considering we go to negative 75%, so our ratings system is not on a 100-point scale.
No, we use very much a German scale. It's all over the place. That's it. That's another one. Lupin.
I think is maybe how you say it, but
whatever. Check it out on Netflix. We're watching it. Check it out. We have we appreciate everybody listening, all that stuff. Please subscribe and tell other people, all that stuff. It helps us out. We like doing this. So please pass it along. If you have comments or you have other things that you want me to guess, or all that stuff you want us to go over, all that you can send it. And they don't have to be new. They could be older. That's fine too. We kind of do all of it. But you can hit us up. We'll literally
do anything, really, I think is the point.
Yeah, 100%. You can hit us up with the email. What's the email?
The email is info.plotting@gmail.com.
All right, so you get us up there. Otherwise, thanks for watching. We will be back next time with another movie for your listening and viewing pleasure.